Well, hello there. Welcome to So Into Bourbon. I'm Glenn. This is Charlie. Charlie, what's on the bar tonight?
Tonight, we have a wonderful offering from Elijah Craig, their Toasted series.
Okay, Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel.
That's right.
So, Elijah Craig, everybody knows and loves Elijah Craig, right?
Yeah.
2022, they decided, 2020, they decided to come out with a Toasted Barrel edition.
Because unless you're living under a rock, like toasted is so hot right now. Like everything's toasted. Everybody wants something toasted. This was aged in a toasted barrel. Well, what the heck what do they mean by that?
Let's get into that.
All right, let's do it.
So toasted. So your normal charred oak barrel, it's charred at a high heat for usually less than a minute.
Burn it.
Right? Really chars it. Doesn't go deep, but it's a deep char.
Yeah.
Toasting is more of a longer process with lower heat. So literally like
Baking.
toasting a piece of toast in your toaster, right?
Yep.
So why don't you tell them a little bit about why the difference, what the process does to make the flavor different.
Science and magic. No, long story short is, and there's a bunch of science behind it, but instead of just charring the outside of the barrel, it gets more into the wood. So it allows that bourbon, as it seeps in, you get more in-depth flavors and all its bourbon magic done. So it's the same, sorry to interrupt.
Nope.
It's the same process, right? We're charring, toasting is just different, right? It's not as intense. It's a slower, almost like you're baking the barrel.
Yeah, so supposedly it goes deeper into the wood and draws some more of the sugars out,
Right.
and maybe gives it more of a sweeter...
Science and magic.
Yeah. So that's it.
That's it.
And also, what I didn't really realize until we were doing the research on this episode is this is also, it's a double oaked product.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
That blew my mind. So what Glenn is referring to is they take their normal Elijah Craig small batch, which we all know and love, and they take it at barrel proof, and then they finish it. They add it into a new toasted barrel, let that age and mature, and then dump it and proof it down to 94 proof.
Yeah. So I'm guessing, I don't know how long it stays in the toasted barrel, but since this is non-age stated, we know it's at least 4 years old, right?
Yep.
And then they take it and put it in the second barrel. I don't know how long.
Well, it's a batch whiskey, right? So when you have wide released batch whiskeys, they're not single barrels, they're not limited editions. They are dumping these and getting a flavor. So some barrels may age longer to get the flavor that they want, some may not. It depends on warehouse and all that other stuff. But it is a double oaked, and double oaked are very hot right now.
Yes, they are. Let's get into it.
Let's do it. First thing I noticed when we poured, beautiful color.
Yeah, that is
Like a
really
deep,
nice.
a deep amber.
Deep amber color, yep. I don't know. I've always loved the look of Elijah Craig
Yeah.
in the bottle
Yep.
and in the glass, really.
Puts a nice ring around it.
It's got a nice sweet nose to it, almost like
Yeah.
a purple grape nose. Almost when you get into
it is kind of fruit. I can get a lot of fruit on that. And this is a standard Elijah Craig mash bill, 78% corn, 10% rye, 12% malted barley. But it doesn't have really the Elijah Craig nose that I'm kind of used to. This is like sweet and fruity for me.
And I think, as often happens, once we taste it and let it sit for a minute and go back to it, I have a feeling some of that's gonna
Burn off a
dissipate.
little bit.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Did you say grape or did
Yeah.
I imagine that? Like it does, like almost like grape soda. It's really strong.
Cheers.
Elijah Craig. Was not expecting that. Wow.
That's really creamy.
Crazy creamy. Like a real, 94 proof, has a really creamy mouthfeel. It almost has to be my brain, because you said grape, and then I got grape on the nose, And then immediately when it hit my tongue, it was like grape.
Really?
It just tastes like a real like fruity grape, like not wine, actually like grape, like juice. And then that dissipated really quickly, and I was left with, I get a lot of pepper on the palate too, which is kind of surprising. It's really nice, and you get a nice oaky finish on it.
See, I didn't get the grape on the palate like I did on the nose, like you did. But to me, it's really oaky, but not not unpleasantly so.
Yeah, which makes sense, right? Like it's a double oaked, and that secondary barrel is a toasted barrel. It does have a really, I really like this. It gives me a big splash. Like right when it hits my tongue, I keep getting that big, that fruit splash, and it's one of those. It's almost like a tease, like almost like what's the gum when you were a kid and you would chew it and it would immediately
the best thing in the world for like 2 seconds.
2 seconds and it's gone, and then you want to chew more.
What's it called? I just heard something about this.
Fruit stripe gum.
Fruit stripe. They're not going to make it anymore.
Oh, shocker.
Yeah.
But that's what this reminds me of, because it gives you that big, like, oh, what is that? And then it goes, and you're left with, like you said, oak. There's not a lot of, like, super complexity to it.
Yeah, there's not a lot of complexity.
But it's nice. I mean, it's a nice sipping whiskey.
Let me ask you this. So I know some people claim to have gotten a really nice marshmallow note on the first releases of Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel. And from what I'm reading, people say that's kind of gone away over the years. Are you getting any type of a marshmallow note?
No, I don't get any marshmallow, which would be awesome because I love marshmallows. Shocker, I'm a fat guy. I am still, like, I keep waiting for me to take a sip, and my palate kind of woke up. First drink of the day. I'm waiting for not to get that big splash on my tongue, that fruit. And I think that was my third or fourth drink, and I'm still getting it. I am starting to get a little campfire char that's kind of like not on my tongue, but almost like in the roof of my mouth and on the sides of my mouth. And that's kind of smoky, if you're into that.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of, actually not as much as I expected to get, because my first couple sips, I didn't get any of that.
Yeah.
Which was funny you say that, because I was going to point out the fact that I'm not getting that, but it's kind of, it's there.
Yeah, it's starting to come in. The finish on it is interesting because it's not an intense finish, but it does hang around for a really long time. Like, it just kind of coats your tongue, and it does have a great mouthfeel. For 94 proof, what's the MSRP on this bottle?
50, around $50.
It's a good bottle.
I paid $50.
Yeah, that's a good bottle for $50.
And another thing about this is it seems to be more readily available than it used to be. I've seen it for a few weeks in a row. If I go into Meijer on the right day, there'll be 8 or 10 of them on the shelf.
Yeah, I've noticed that it's starting to trickle in there, which often happens. Quick bourbon rant. When something immediately comes out, don't have that fear of missing out, that FOMO, and overspend on that bottle. Be patient, give it time. You're going to find it. And if I would have rushed in 2020 or 2021, I remember vividly when these were selling for $100+. I would have been really disappointed if I would have spent $100+ on it.
Yeah, that's not a $100 bottle by any means.
But $50, that's a nice one to have on your bar, and it complements. You know what we should do?
Let me guess. Let's compare it to regular Elijah Craig small batch.
It's almost like it's scripted.
We should like I expected. I'm going back to the nose here. Getting a little bit more of the classic bourbon notes. A little bit more of the vanillas and the chocolates on the nose.
Big vanilla. Yeah. Now it noses like a double oak.
Yeah.
You know what that really reminds me of?
Yeah.
That's got some 1910 and some Woodford. Don't save a little bit.
I just wanted to get one more. I wanted to see
one more. We can report.
If I can pull any more flavors out for those who are really, wanting us to really go deep.
I still get that big fruit splash, which I really like. But boy, you hit the nose.
It's pretty straight up.
Yeah.
It's not really.
It's not super
complex,
overcomplicated.
but it's good, and I love the mouthfeel.
I like it. I like it for what it is, and what it is a double oaked offering from Heaven Hill, which is an amazing distillery.
Now you can really see.
I'm gonna pour. You want a little more? Want a little more toasted there,
just
guy?
a little bit, just
For science.
For science. Good job.
Spilled on our
Spilled
notes.
it on our notes here. That's okay. We don't need notes.
We kind of do.
All right. First thing I noticed, there's a definitely
it's
a distinct difference in the color.
for sure a shade darker.
Yeah, toasted
For sure.
darker for sure.
And if you've watched our episodes, which I'm sure you have, or you should, you know we both really enjoy Elijah Craig. In my opinion, Elijah Craig is one of the best shelfer bourbons. It is readily available.
Dollar for dollar.
Yep. If you're hard up and need one. See, now that smells like Elijah Craig.
Yeah.
Like straightforward, corn on the nose, a little bit of.
I'm getting a little bit of that, and I think it's we just popped it.
Right.
It's a little bit of ethanol. So,
Yeah.
all right, let's go.
Sweet corn. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. Tastes like Elijah Craig.
Yeah.
So I will tell you, I'll go. After having the toasted and then going to the Elijah Craig, the toasted is really good. Like it is a whole nother depth of flavor and it really stands out. And again, this makes me very happy because if you're watching at home, these are 2 bottles. Hopefully you can track down a toasted, but you know, you can get an Elijah Craig, even if you don't want a full bottle, get a mini bottle and do this tasting at home because they are the same mash bills and the only difference is the toasted barrel and the double oaked influence. Really fun experiment there.
Yeah, and I know we said that the toasted wasn't all that complex, but now when you compare it to the regular Elijah Craig, there's definitely more complexity there,
Right.
as you would expect. And I feel like the finishing really kind of smooths this out, rounds it out. You get the standard Elijah Craig's just a little bit harsher on the back end.
Yeah, there is a little bit more ethanol, maybe
Yeah.
a little more alcohol.
Yeah.
I'm also getting more, which is weird, 10% rye. I get a little more rye spice on the standard, a little bit more spiciness. But I will tell you, going back to the nose on that toasted is a really nice experience.
Okay, so would you rather pay $25 for Elijah Craig small batch, or would you rather pay $50 for Elijah Craig toasted?
Man, that's a great question. I guess it would be what I was using it for. If it was for me that I just wanted to have a really cool, interesting bottle and I didn't have it on my bar, I think I would pick the toasted. If I was just hosting a party and I knew people were going to pour Coke in it and this, that, and the other, then you buy the cheaper.
I agree.
I think they're both great bottles. I think if you have the opportunity to have them on your bar, especially as a bourbon drinker, you should have a bottle of Elijah Craig small batch on your bar. But the toasted is an excellent offering from them, and I really like this. I'm excited to see kind of how this opens up. Kind of getting the neck pour out of it and revisiting this one. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, going back to what you said, on my way over here, I didn't have a bottle of Elijah Craig small batch, and I had to go into the store for something else, and I thought, you know what? Maybe I should buy a bottle so we can compare it. And I was like, no, I don't need it. No, I thought, no, I do need another bottle of this. I need a bottle of Elijah Craig small batch on my bar.
Because it's a perfect bottle. It's a $25 bottle. It's 94 proof, holds up in cocktails, and you don't feel any sort of way about enjoying it. You're not like, oh man, it's getting low.
Right.
Go to Walgreens and get another one. Like, it's a great bottle. I will say this though, like it makes me happy that the toasted is starting to become more widely available.
Yeah, that's a good bottle.
It is a good bottle, and I like it. Now, I guess the question would be, and I know we're not talking apples to apples, but in the world of double oaked, and you should check out our most recent episode we just posted, Battle of the Double Oaks. How would you compare this to the Woodford Double Oaked, Old Forester 1910, or even the Peerless Double Oaked?
It's hard to say for sure without having those right in front of me, but I would probably put this ahead of the Woodford Double Oaked.
Really?
Maybe.
Really?
You know what? That's a pretty bold statement without actually putting
So,
them head to head.
I will tell you,
we're not going to do in this
we're not
episode.
doing on this
Maybe
episode.
that's a future episode.
I will tell you this, and I know it's not the same because these are toasted, so it should be a little softer. I don't get nearly the sweetness that I get
No, not
out
at
of
all.
this from those other typical double oak, because people love double oaks because, you know, big vanilla intense on the nose and that sweet flavor, you know, through and through. The one flavor I don't get in this is sweet.
Right.
You know, I get that splash of fruit and then some campfire and some oakiness, which is interesting. It's kind of different for a double oak. So
Yeah,
I like it.
absolutely.
You want to rate it?
Oh, we're going to rate it? Okay.
It's kind of what we do.
You know what? I'll give it a 7.
I'll get a 6.5. I think it's a good bottle, $50 at retail, worth the money, good bottle to have.
Can't disagree. All right, Charlie, we are going to wrap this up. Tell them what we would love for them to do.
We'd love for you to like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel because that's how you keep getting hard-hitting content like this.
Hard-hitting, very hard-hitting content.
Yeah.
Also, check us out on Instagram, So Into Bourbon, and TikTok, Whiskey Realtor. And as always, keep your wallets loose.
And your dang bungholes tight. Good night, everybody.
Peace out.
Toasted. Dude, ginger beer and bourbon is enough. Like, I don't need a whole lime. Like, calm it down. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
always have to ruin it.
it's just a bourbon delivery system.
Right. Well, hello there. Thank you.
Take 2.
Well, hello there. Oh my God. What am I trying to say?
Patrick Mahomes. Hello there. Come on. All right.
Okay.
Get serious. Wait, I'm going to sit like this. Is this okay? Or am I turned too much?
Very good.
You think I'm all right?
Sure.
Are we? We're level?
It's that stupid.
Oh my gosh.
One of these days. One of these days. Those are going to be level.
Anyways, Elijah Craig, let's pretend we know what we're doing. Action.